Welcome back to Code Your Own HTML Mailchimp Email Template tutorial, where we are using MJML and MJML Mailchimp to create our template. This is part 3. If you remember in part 2, this is where we have our header, we have our subhead. In this part, going to our sketch document, let's work on the content section and see how far we can get. Okay, I am back in the code editor, and this is what we got to last time. This is all of our code. Okay, so now this whole section, our subheader, is kind of large. So I'm actually going to import it from a different folder. So let's create that folder now, and I'm going to call it components, because we can just stick all our components inside of there. And then within there, I'm going to make a file called subhead.mjml. And then all I'm going to do right now is take this whole section, so starting at MC section, divider container, all the way down to the closing tag. I'll get rid of it from there. And now we're going to go to subhead.mjml, just paste it in. Save that. And in our index.mjml, we are going to use a new tag called mj include. And then we're going to set the path to /components/subhead, which is what we called it, MJML. And then close that. That should do it. So let's just double check that that's working. We're going to do yarn build. Great, so it outputted without any errors. That's a good sign. And then let's refresh our index, and it's still there. Awesome. So let's move on to the content section. So, as you can recall from the previous parts, we actually have 3 parts to our content section. We have the top part, the middle part, and the bottom part. And these are different because they have different padding, and this bottom section actually has a border bottom. So let's start. Actually, we want it to be MC section. And let's close that. And here we want this to be MC. This is a new attribute. We want it to MC repeatable. Make sure I'm spelling that correctly. Great. And whatever you name this, for each repeatable section, we want this to be the same name. So let's call this content section. And now what we're also going to give it is a variant. So MC variant. And this is important because whatever you put here is actually going to be its name. And I'll show you what I mean in a section. So I'm calling it top section because I know this is going to be the top section. And then if I go to here in my campaign builder, as you can see, it's actually appearing as a selection. So I know I want a top section, a middle section, and a bottom section. So I know exactly what I'm picking. Because you could name it anything. You could just name them all section, but then you wouldn't know what's going on. So as specific as you can get there. And then I also want this to be MC hideable. Let's just add that attribute. So that means I don't even need a content section. I can just make it disappear if I wanted to. And then again, let's give it a background color. White, perfect. And I know that I want this whole section to have a padding of 40 pixels. Okay, and now I want 2 columns just like above. We have a column with our image, and then we have a column with all of our text. So we're going to do MJ column. And then let's just copy that so we know we want our 2 columns. Okay, so in our first column, we have another MC image. So I'm actually, I'll just write it again. I was going to copy it from the top section, but we actually put that in a new file. this works. MC image. You know this is going to, I can write a self-closing tag. So we're going to give this a CSS class because I also want to give it custom styling. So we're going to give it image content container. And then MC edit to make it editable. This is our content image. Okay, and now we want to get the source. And this, I will also put the link below to this imgur so I can see it's a PNG of an image from Noun Project, an image icon. So I want to double click on that, copy image address, and then we're going to paste that in. So it should end with PNG. Then you know you copied it correctly. And we're going to align left, border, none, height, auto, and then we don't want it to have padding except for the top. So we're just going to set it to 0 there, and then this will be overruled by a padding top. So this is our image has this padding, and then I know that I want the image to have a width of 100 pixels. All right, and now let's get to the class. So we called this class image content container. We're going to go back to our MJ style, add that in, and then just like above, we want to actually select the image that will be nested within that container. And we want this to have a max width, 100 pixels. Again, actually, you know what? I think let's try this without margin 0 auto there because we are aligning it to the right, if I'm remembering correctly. Aligning left. Okay. Yes, because it's on the left side. Makes sense. So let's keep it aligned left. Margin 0 auto would center it. We can play around and see which we like more. Okay, so that should do our left column. Now we want our other column. How did this? Oh, okay. So I did not actually put this within the column. That is important. Cool. Oh, tried to tab that way. That deleted it. All right, now we are in on the right side. So let's do an MC text. I can remember to do this correctly. Beautiful. And we want this to be editable as well. Let's call it content. Cool. And we want this also to be aligned to the left. Helvetica. Doing great today. All right, Helvetica. And then again, we want to get rid of the padding. So let's give that 0 pixels, except for padding top. Because we want it to be aligned. This will override again. We want it to be aligned with the image so that they start the same point. So we're going to give it 20 pixels. And then if we go back here to our sketch, I just copied this from Hipster Lorem Ipsum. So you can just Google that and get a paragraph and then paste that within your MC text, and I'll also put a link to that below. There we go. And now I know I want another MC text below that. So this is actually going to be our content link, which is read more. And we're not going to make it a link in our code. We can link it up because it's editable. We can link it right there in our Mailchimp editor. And I'll do that later on. So it's also aligned left. Ooh, did I give this a font size? No, I did not. So this is font size. They're both going to be font size 14 pixels. Great. And align left, Helvetica, padding 0. So the only difference here is that I would like this to be font weight bold. And let's also text transform this uppercase. And this just is going to say, read more. All right, so this is our top section. Let's yarn build and see how it's doing. Okay, it is. Background color has invalid. Okay, so that's happening in line 37. Hopefully you caught this too. I did not do a hashtag. Okay, great. Let's see what we have going on.
I hear myself being slandered.
Sorry if you heard any background noise. That looks great. Okay, so this is our top. So we're gonna just make 2 more of these sections. They're just gonna vary slightly. So let's get back to our code because they're just slightly different. Let's copy this section. Okay, cool. And one moment. Okay, so this is going to be the middle section. And again, MC Hideable is great. All of that is good. Still want our image to be the same. What's different is, okay, yes, this is what's different. We want padding around this to be different. So we want our padding top to be 0 pixels. And then we want the padding left and right to be 40. We're going to specialize, we're going to override that by doing padding bottom 40 pixels. Okay. So let's make sure that looks good. Let's build that. Yeah, that looks like the right spacing. Cool. And now we are on the third section, the bottom section. So this is going to have a border bottom. That's definite difference. And we'll make sure to call this bottom section. And we still want the padding to be 0, 40 pixels. The padding bottom, we want more space between the bottom text and the border. So I'm going to save that. And then we actually have a class called divider container. So we're going to use that same border. Let's make sure I want the bottom section. Great. Okay. So we're going to have a CSS class divider container. Cool. And that should do it. So let's save that. Yarn build. Check it out. Great. Looks awesome. It's a little hard to see the border bottom, but it is there. I think we can move on. All right, so our next section that we're going to do, if I go to my campaign builder, is our footer. Well, not our footer, our social icon. Then we'll get to the footer. So it says find us, and then we have these social icons. What is cool about MJML is that it actually comes with MJ socials. So let's put this. And if you wanted, you could make different components for each of these from the section to the section and put them with your components folder and do the same thing we did up here, which is we brought it in as an MJ include. I'm just going to leave it there, but that is an option. So we have another MC section for our socials. And we want a similar thing. We want the background color to be FFF. We want the padding to be 0, 40. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to copy that. And then we also want a border bottom here. So I'm also going to give it the same class as this section. Cool. And now within the section, I'm sure you know what's coming. We are going to have an MJ column. And within here, we want our MC text that says find us. Of course, as soon as I start recording, like people are yelling, the phone is ringing, but that's how it goes. So we're going to give this also an MC edit, social label. Padding 0 pixels. But we want to override this by giving it a padding top, 20 pixels. Font size, 16 pixels. And then we also want font family Helvetica, font weight bold. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that because I don't misspell Helvetica again. And yeah, let's do it. Font weight bold. I know I want this to be capital, and I don't think I need to put the color there because it's already just going to be black. Yeah, so text transform uppercase. Cool, and then within here, let's do find us. And then next, also within the same column, let's do our social icons. So this is its own tag. It's called MJ Social, and it just comes with MJML. And we are going to have 4 icons like I have below. I mean, like I have in the mockup. So we want this to be mode. It's an attribute for MJ Social of horizontal. I played around with the font size a bit. I know it looks good. Font size 15 pixels. Icon size 30 pixels. And let's give it a padding bottom on these icons of 40 pixels. And if you look through the MJML docs, which I'll put in the description, they go through all of the different MJ social elements that you can use. Right now we're just using Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So let's do MJ social element as the tag, and these are going to be self-closing. So we know we want 4 of those. I think it will format itself in a little bit. Okay, so the name of this one is, first one we want is Twitter, and this is going to be a no share. And then this is where you would link it up. Right now we don't have a Twitter, so we're just gonna put a hashtag there. And then we just copy that into each of these, and then I'll rename them. So then we also have Instagram, Facebook, I have those socials. Then this one's different. I tried this before for LinkedIn with no share, and it does not like it. So LinkedIn just has to be on its own. So it'll actually go through a different link first and redirect you to a sign-in page, and then you can go to the link. Let's save all of that, and let's see what happens. Let's yarn build. Okay, let's see. Attribute bottom is illegal for MJ Social, line 88. Padding bottom. There we go. Include that dash. Cool. All right, so we built it. Let's go here, check our index.html, and we have our socials. Beautiful. So the next thing we're going to work on is the footer. We are back in our code editor, and now we are working on the footer. Let's finish strong. So after this MC section, I'm just going to close the spacing there. We are making yet another MC section. And within this, we want the same background color, same padding. So let's just copy that. And again, we are going to override the padding with another padding bottom. just 40 pixels. Okay, within here, you guessed it, we have our MJ column. And let's put in our footer elements. And we're actually going to have two columns because we have the different merge tags with subscribe, unsubscribe, etc. on one side, and then we have our copyright on the other side. So in this column, we're going to have an MC text. And I think these are all going to be the same, so I'll copy them after I put everything in. So this first MC text is subscribe. So I'm going to call that in the edit. And it's going to be font family, like everything else. Helvetica. Tried and true. Font weight. Bold. And this is going to have padding. Oop, not a pad-all. A padding of 20 pixels. And then 0, 0, 0. So that's just going to affect the top. And this we want to actually be an A tag within our text. Oop. I can write, we'll close our A tag. And within here, we're going to have the text subscribe. And we could also make this, again, text transform uppercase. I'm just writing it out. And this is going to be, have an href, a link. And this is also a merge tag. So again, if you watched part 2, I linked a list of merge tags from Mailchimp. And so I will link that again. I know off the top of my head that it is this. So I'll put it in. And then within there, list, subscribe. Okay, let's copy this whole thing. And we know we have subscribe, unsubscribe, update, profile. So we have those 3. Okay. So subscribe, unsubscribe, and update, profile. Cool. So I think the padding varies a little bit. So this is going to be 10 pixels, and this is also going to be 10 pixels. We need to change all of the tags. So this one is simply unsub. And then for this, it is going to be update profile. And these are, again, built in. Okay, now on this column, we want another MC text. So I'm just going to copy this guy, make sure I put it in the column. And this MC edit is going to be copyright. Again, font family Helvetica. This is not going to be bold. And our padding this time is going to be 20 pixels, 0, 0. And here, let's write it all. This is not an A tag. So get rid of that. So we're going to go copyright, and then we're going to do the copyright symbol, which is and copy. This is the HTML copyright symbol. And then we want a custom merge tag. This is actually going to be filled out when you make your account. So we want this to be user company. So it's just going to autofill. And then we want the year. So we simply go capital Y. Make sure you put a space between there. And then all rights reserved. Lovely. And let me just close this spacing. Not really necessary, but okay. We should be done. Let's see if it gets angry. Beautiful. And then I do not have the window open. There we go. Let's refresh. We have our footer. Beautiful. Okay. So our copyright, all rights reserved. Let me make sure I think that looks good. We could always change the font size if we really wanted to. These are also turning blue because they are links. So let's override that. Why not? So let's get, let's see, all A's. let's do let's make that black. I think that should do it, and then let's try doing text decoration. None. All right, let's inspect and see how we can actually target this. So I'm going to look directly here. And okay, I think we can just call it maybe without even active. Let's just see if we can directly get all our A tags. There we go. Okay, looks great. And I think that will finish this section. In the next section, we will put this into Mailchimp. We'll make the template. We'll put it into campaign. We will preview it. And then something cool we can do is that I paid for a Mailchimp account. That's actually the only way you can customize your templates. The starter, I think there's premium, and then there's, I forget what it's called, but it was $15. And then you get 25 tokens, so you can get started, and you can actually, each one of these check marks is a token. So what we're going to do is we're going to test it in a few different clients and just see what happens. So our template should look like this when it's in desktop. And then in mobile, it actually adjusts. I think our coffee will be centered. And that looks great. And we didn't write any media queries. This is just how it unfolds on its own, which is awesome. Because as I learned, media queries, and we'll talk more about this, actually weigh down your CSS. And if it's weighed down by media queries, you can actually, it would limit the amount of sections and images you can have. So the less media queries, the less CSS, the better. And I will upload all of this to GitHub, to my repository, so you can double check the code if you got stuck or you just want to see the finalized version. All right, great. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in part 4.